If you can't explain what you're going to talk about in a piece of paper that big, you're not an expert in your field. If you can't explain it simply, you're not an expert in your field. So let me tell you what I'm going to talk about. What I get more than anything in my inbox, on my email, is why don't they teach you this at school? Why don't they teach you this at school more than anything else? What is it? What is it that all these people, and hopefully you won't need to ask this in years to come because I'm teaching it now, what is it more than anything else? People keep emailing and saying, why don't they teach you this at school? What is so important that they're not teaching you in this phenomenal school? Well, before I get to that, let me tell you about two traumatic things that happened to me when I was 12, when I was school age. Two traumatic things. You're probably thinking, oh my God, you were abused by a bullying teacher or something? No. The first traumatic thing is I came across Karl Marx. I mean, not literally, I mean, he was dead. Okay, he didn't sort of come out of the grave or something. Karl Marx, what the heck? Karl Marx? How's that traumatic? He'd written a book, Das Kapital. Why would that be traumatic to a 12-year-old? Well, in it, what he says is it stinks being a worker. Now, I want you to look at the people next to you. You boy. I've always wanted to say that to a school student. Look at the person to the right and left of you. I've got bad news for you. They're not going to become Elon Musk or Bill Gates. I wish they were. They're not going to become billionaires. And statistically, neither are you. Statistically, neither am I. I don't want to destroy your dreams. It ain't going to happen. Okay? I'm not here to destroy your dreams, but what I am to tell you is this. That occurred to me. If I'm a worker, there's nothing wrong with being a worker, but my God, that book which tells you you're in chains, you're a slave, that traumatizes a 12-year-old. So the next thing I did, in panic, I turned to my aunt and I said, I need to borrow some money. I need some capital. I need to borrow some money. She lent me £100. Back when I was young, that was a lot of money, because that's how old I am. She lent me £100, and I realised I need to ride the coattails of the people who are going to be amazing and brilliant. I need to clone myself to be like them, not because I'm going to be like them, but because I need them to work for me. I need the Bill Gates and the Elon Musks to work for me by cloning myself. How did I do it? I bought some shares. At the age of 12, I bought some shares and it changed my entire life. Let me tell you what and why and how that means you clone yourself. Now I'm riding on the coattails of the billionaires. You don't need to worry that you're not going to become a billionaire because they're working for you, because you had some capital. You had some capital, and you had £100. You go home today and tell your parents, that bloke, I've forgotten his name, who was on stage at a TEDx talk said, you've got to lend me some money, because he said, I've got to learn how to invest. Right? I cloned myself by riding on their coattails. Why is that important? What problem is that going to solve? And how does that give you purpose in life? This is not about greed. This is not about flash cars. By the way, the Porsche I drove in, it's not mine. Gave it to my wife. I ride a line bike. The flash stuff, couldn't care less. When you find your purpose and passion, you won't care about all the bling and the black. No point telling you when you're at this young age, enjoy the bling for now. Let me tell you why cloning yourself is such important. I'm going to fast forward another 20 years. What happened? By then, I'm what you might call ancient, but I was 32. Okay? In the Financial Times, they did a little competition about investing. You know what they did? They got a cat. A cat. They put the cat on a map about this big. Yeah, I know I said cat on map. Cat on a map, and they put some random numbers to forecast the stock market over 12 months. You know what happened in that? The cat beat the leading UK fund manager of that time. By the way, you know what happened to that fund manager? Just in case you think, oh yeah, he's telling us invest and we'll all be rich. No, that's not what I'm telling you. That is not what I'm telling you. You know what happened to that fund manager several years later? He had to apologise for being so rubbish at his job. With the billions he'd been given. And there's a problem I'm going to come to as well. But by the way, I won that competition in the Financial Times. put all of that to one side, what's the problem then? What's the problem we're trying to solve? The problem isn't that you might end up a worker and out of your salary every single day, the employer earns more value than you create. Okay, that's what the capitalist does. The shareholder gets that. That's what the capital owner gets. The worker has to create more value for me. I own a company. My workers create more value for me. I give them a smaller amount of that. That's not fair. Fine. I want to be the capitalist. Get hold of the capital. What's the problem all of this creates and that we're trying to solve? The bigger problem. Well, there's a social problem. In society, the women, you're going to have less money in your pensions, in your savings, than the men. That's pretty bad, isn't it? That stinks. What are we going to do about that? You're going to earn less, unless society suddenly changes. Don't look like it. You're going to earn less for the same work than the boys. I'm not suggesting you start hating on the boys, but that's how it is. The ethnic minorities in the audience, well, bad news for you. You're going to earn less than the white boys. And if you're an ethnic minority girl, put your hands up. All right, you don't need to put your hands up, I can see, I've got eyes. If you're shy. It's self-evident, by the way. You're not hiding from me if you're an ethnic minority girl. You really need to get on this, because it's unfair what's happening. The data shows it. It's not fair. You're getting paid less for the same work, also based on the colour of your skin. Oh, don't worry, there is hope. And that's what I'm here for. It's not to say to you, we must change society. I've been around long enough to know I'm not sure about that one. Let me tell you what the other problem is. As you get older, we know there's a demographic time bomb. What does that mean? It means people have got too little money as they get older. Now you might not be worried, because you might think it's okay, mummy and daddy are rich. You might think that, you might not. It goes like this. Okay? And anyway, that's theirs. They've got, see the tax laws, they're not leaving it to you. There's no point. Right? You need to do it for yourself. So there's a demographic time bomb. There's a social inequality between the genders and the races. What the heck's this got to do with what I'm talking about in Karl Marx? You need to clone yourself to ride the coattails of the most successful people by learning a little bit about investing. Okay, you were just telling us to speculate on the stock market. Did that guy just tell us that in his little sheet of paper? Is that what he came back with? No, it gets worse. Why can't we just give it to an expert? Well, this is where it gets problematic. Fast forward a couple more years, I'm lecturing at Oxford University as a fellow. There's a few things that happen in your life where you can't believe yourself. Those are the things you brag about, because you just can't believe that happened to you. You know, like the first time you might go to business class and you keep taking photos on social media. The reason we do that is, well, I can't believe I'm here. Because the people who believe they're here don't ever talk about it. I couldn't believe I got that. You know what I was lecturing about? I was lecturing about how people don't make money. Why is it? So many clever people, all of you in this room, how come you won't be cloning yourself and making all that money? I thought, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to find out from the world's best people. So I started looking at the Nobel Prize-winning economists, except they hadn't won the Nobel Prize at that time. Daniel Kahneman, Richard Thaler. If I give you one piece of advice, Eugene Fedner, Daniel Kahneman, Richard Thaler, you better learn that stuff. Why don't they teach you this at school? I don't know. Because I go to schools. I've come from Eton College, where a couple of years ago gave a talk on exactly this point. They teach it at the really, really posh school. You're better, by the way. Hopefully nobody at Eton sees this video. Guess what those economists said? And they all went on to win the Nobel Prize in economics. They said, you can't give it to the experts, the fund managers, who you're thinking of outsourcing it to, that your parents have outsourced it to. Oh, I know, I'll just invest in these companies, my pension, my hard-earned income as a worker, which we already know is going to be pretty stinky, Karl Marx called it that, I'll just give it to an expert. Guess what they found? The Nobel Prize winners found, don't just trust a bloke off the internet, never trust a bloke off the internet. The Nobel Prize winners I'm talking about at Oxford University, within 10 years, they all went on to win the Nobel Prize in economics. I picked well. And you know what they said? The experts underperformed when they're investing. You better learn to do it yourself. You better look. So, wait a minute, Alpesh. You're telling us not even to trust the expert, better invest ourselves, gamble on the stock market. No, there's three types of investors. If you want a guaranteed return, put it in a cash bank account. Then there's the ones who say, well, wait a minute, what can't the experts do? They can't even beat what's called a tracker, just a simple index tracker, okay? Which last year, the American ones went up, at the time of recording, 25%, the year before 55%, they can't even do that. They can't even beat those, and those are spectacular returns, by the way. So you can do that. Just find what ETFs are. There's your homework for tonight. That's going to be life-changing. You're going to message me in about 30 years and say, hey, bloke, you were at my school. I was a bit bored when you were there, but my God, thank you for what you've told me. I know this because I get the emails from people telling me this. 18 books over 25 years means you've got a heck of a following. Even better than that, my 6-year-old son, you know what he loves the most when you clone yourself? By sharing this knowledge, because that's also cloning yourself. You know what he tells me? He's only 6, he's 7 tomorrow. He goes to school, he goes, he's not bothered about any of the things I was introduced by. Couldn't care less. Oh, you know, Daddy did this, he worked at this, blah, blah. Couldn't care less. You know what a 7-year-old cares about? And this is what's important. Daddy got a silver button on YouTube. Daddy got a silver button. 7.1 million views for one video, which was about how to invest. Oh, people want this. People want this who've got the wisdom and the pain and the punishment after they left school and realised, oh my God, the experts don't know what they're doing when it comes to investing, I've got to learn myself. Just learn ETFs. That's simple. That's the second type of investor. Really simple. Okay. The third type, a bit more complicated, that's the bit I do. It's which companies are undervalued. Now this is for the advanced degree level stuff. Okay. I was at a lunch with Goldman Sachs Wealth Management. I'm sitting next to Jim O'Neill. Now, Lord O'Neill, I get lucky. It's all luck, by the way, just so you know, 90% right place, right time. His team, the Goldman Sachs Wealth Management R&D team come in and they tell me, this is what we do. We find new ways to make money. They tell me about the cash return on capital invested. This is the advanced bit, croaking. And they discovered companies in the top 25%, but the amount of cash they can create from the capital they invest. Imagine a company making sweets and you go in, you buy the sweets, next day you go in, you buy the sweet, they've got a license to print money. They produce 30% per annum. That'll get you the blingy cars. Like I said, they'll also pay for your line bike, which I prefer. Cash return on capital investing. Learn about that. Sortino, this is how hedge fund managers like me cheat. We look at the prices, we look to see what's got a high average return and low risk of missing that return. Consistency of performance is what your employers will want. Forget this guy's grades, forget what they've done, forget the bio. Can he or she perform? That's the complicated bit. I'm not going to go into that. You need the undervalued growing companies. You'll need the information and the data. Information is useless unless you know what to do with it, and knowledge is useless unless you've got the information. So the bit what we do in our job is give people the information and data. Forget that bit. That's the dull bit. Just homework. Croaky, exchange-traded funds. Okay? Why do you need to clone yourself? Because there is this social, economic problem. Men and women, old and young, they haven't got money in their retirements because they've given it to the experts who don't perform with that money you're earning your whole life. Do you not care if you're wasting it? What the heck are you spending your life on? But it gets better. What if you could clone yourself by having that pool of money that you've learned to invest with, so you get to sit on that beach earlier and that money's growing and earning. You cloned yourself, it's earning, so you don't have to. It gets better than that. So I thought to myself, wait a minute, there's a lot of C's here. Cat, clone, okay, coattails, capital, right? I thought to myself, why don't I create a campaign to teach 1 million people to add 1 million to their portfolios, to their investments across their lifetimes? An extra 1 million would be pretty cool. What's 1 million times 1 million? It's 1 trillion. You can do that now because of social media. Remember what I said earlier? 7.1 million views on just one video. Little silver button on YouTube, right? You can do that. You know what spreads like wildfire? We're told, social media, what spreads like wildfire? Fake news and lies? No. Knowledge spreads like wildfire. Do you know how you clone yourself? I send the knowledge to people. I can't send them checks. I send the knowledge to people. Send the knowledge to people. I can reach 1 million. If I can teach them how to add an extra 1 million to their portfolios, then the ethnic minority girl who was being stuffed by society her whole life, by not getting paid as much as she should for the same work, the data proves it, might have a better outcome than the guy who gets it easier because he's male, which so often happens. Hey, don't complain, I'm male. So much easier. Okay? Oh, let's not lie about it. Look at the data. It's so much easier. Boys, don't whinge. Oh, I'm so hard being born. No, forget it. Okay? Now, you cloned yourself by spreading that knowledge. You cloned yourself by having that investment portfolio. But what happens when you spread that knowledge? You've made a societal difference. No longer are you just David. No longer are you just David. You're beating Goliath, but you can create an army of Davids. That's the goal. That gives you purpose. What's important in life? Have a purpose. Have a purpose. Before I came here, I didn't realise I'm a Hindu. There's a temple. I went to a temple. I've got news for you. Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, female. Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, female. It's the feminine. So I'm speaking to the women in particular. You've got to owe it to yourself. To the boys, see, call of duty. I'm sure you play it. It's your duty to yourself and to society. Spread that knowledge and do it. Raise an army of Davids. Clone yourselves. For your own sake, for your family's sake, don't trust the experts on this. Learn croquis, learn Sortino, learn to invest, or at least learn exchange traded funds. My God, I'm telling you from what Nobel Prize winning experts have said. So the next time somebody says to you, why don't they teach this at school? Well, they do. They do. Thank you.